tell me, have you found that men are living in denial?
It is true, Mfundisi. Men are living in denial that there is an issue. First of all, they don't come early. Most of them, they tell me that, Doc, I don't know how many times my wife has been saying I must come. The fact that you don't come to a health service provider, it means you are in denial that there is a problem. Secondly, the nature, how they bring it, it's very difficult to bring the issue of sexuality to a doctor or nurse. So it may not always be denial. Right. It might be shame. It might be a sense of feeling, how will I be viewed out there when I have this issue at home, in the bedroom, things are not good. But once they are diagnosed with high blood pressure and high blood sugar, yes, there is denial there. In terms of, most of them will come and tell, Doc, I've been told I have high blood, but I've not been taking my treatment because I thought that I'm fine, I'm not feeling anything, maybe it's going to go away. And some are just not compliant, meaning that they don't take them as they are explained to take, as well as the dangers of having these, because you've got complications that we might discuss later of high blood pressure and high blood sugar, including loss of eyesight, including the legs being amputated, and of course this one of erectile dysfunction in men, as well as complications like heart failure, kidney failure. This can result in stroke. It's the biggest one, because once you have stroke, you can't even treat it. Most of the time you have to be rehabilitated, go through physiotherapy, and your life gets to a level where we call now you are disabled.
You have touched something that was going to be a question, that what are the long-term ramifications when a man neglects his health? And now you've touched something that would even end up being your foot being amputated. And how can we encourage men to come up and seek help before it is too late?
Yes, I think the best way, for instance, to treat stroke, the best way to deal with stroke is to prevent it. Because once you have stroke, I'm taking an example as a complication of high blood pressure, including diabetes, and now it can lead to that. But the best way is to prevent by taking your treatment, do your exercises, change your diet according to the explanation you will have been told, for instance, by a dietitian. Less salt, less sugar, less fat, more water, more exercise is the best way, and manage your weight according to the advice you will get. And I think you cannot go wrong. Of course, take your medication as instructed by your doctor or nurse. And in that way, you might not go through many of the challenges that we see with these diseases.
Thank you very much, Doc. And being an African man, and mostly are watching and listening, and are there any myths? Maybe some people don't want to go to the doctor to get diagnosed because he believes this is something to do with witchcraft. Are there any myths or stereotypes around men's health?
There is a lot of stereotypes, generally in medicine, because we are Africans, and we will say no, since I jumped over something that was put there, then that was when this thing happened, or somebody is really after me, this is issues of witchcraft. People will then be very reluctant to come forward, and they might end up consulting maybe, I don't want to say traditional healers are not good options, but the Western medicine has proven that we do check issues before they get to very severe stages. However, I think because I'm trained in the Western way, I would recommend people to come forward early, because those myths can destroy you. By the time you come out, for instance, some men come and say, well, I thought somebody's after my marriage, that's why I have got weak erections, for instance, and only to find that there's nothing to do with that, but it is diseases that are able to be controlled. So I think people must come early. People must acknowledge their African background, but with due respect, you do come to the health professionals and get the full information before you resort to say, I need to go and do umsebenzi, these things will be sorted.
Before I let you go, Doc, we have a tendency as men to wait until it is too late.
That's true.
How advantageous and how helpful it is that for somebody just to go and do a self-diagnosis and just to check how do you feel before you feel the pain. So do you think it would be right to encourage men to do that?
Okay, the word self-diagnosis, from my understanding, Fundis, it's saying that people say themselves, this is what I have from observing certain things. I think let me start by correcting it. It's not a good approach if you, for instance, people use Google, use all the options and get other advices from people who are not professionals on their own, right? And the Google is a very much a non-specific source of information. You need to have professionals who would guide you to say, of course, there are so many things you read, but this is what you have. We have tested you. So it's very important to have a correct diagnosis, diagnosed by a medical doctor trained to do that. Because the treatment will be tailor-made to exactly deal with what you have. But if you now say, I am here, I think I have high blood pressure, I feel headache, that's not correct way. Because there might be many reasons you have headache other than high blood pressure and many other symptoms that as doctors we know how to put them together, test the relevant tests and then offer the relevant treatment. So I think self-diagnosis is not a wise approach. However, to be able to go maybe to your question, is it okay to come forward without feeling anything?
Yes.
That's what people would call annual checkups. You know, you go to your doctor, you feel nothing. It's good to do that so that even something that would have otherwise killed you literally is kept, especially cancers. Prostate cancer is one of them in men. If you come early, the doctor will do examination, and one of them is called perectal examination. They just put a finger behind you and they check the size of the prostate. In that way, it can be picked early while it's still starting to grow, but not dangerous yet. And then you get a management of that much better than if it were to be coming when you feel like you can't pee, you can't do certain things, because the symptoms now, it means it's already advanced.
Thank you, Doc, so much. And being a man, we love cars. And sometimes those are men's toys. So if you want a better performance from a car, you go for checking up and service and all that. So it's exactly the same with our bodies as men. If we want to live longer, healthy, we need to take care of our health.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. It's been good having you, my man.
You're welcome.
May the good Lord bless you.
May God
Peace and
bless you
order.
too. Peace and order. Amen.
That concludes our men-to-men talk on men's health. Daughter, get checked. Build a man, build a nation.